the Black Friday. What a rally it was in the stock market today. The Black Friday rally and the stock market makes some huge moves today. The S&P up over 33 points, Dow Jones up over 140 points, and the Nasdaq just moving along with a lot of big names making some moves. The stock market really making some big moves today. I want to look and share some of the news that is popping on our feed and just kind of share some of the news from some of the big players. We're going to look at CNBC here. Let's share my screen. And let me refresh this because always you never know when news comes again. But again, the S&P Dow Jones almost nearly 200 points, 188. S&P 3364, the Nasdaq 157, and the Russell. The Russell keeps chugging along and making some strategic moves. Again, this has been a phenomenal market. Many people thought this was a dud, but like many of the news coming out here, Trump voters could fuel holiday spending while Harris supporters may pull back. Some of the news that is coming up from the local liberal media really makes me laugh. They're very downcast, but the American people have spoken, and they believe that this is going to be a turn of events for the financial markets. It is a time for those of you that are going to start padding your savings account. For those of you that are going to start padding your 401k, now is the time. And don't miss this moment because the next 4 years are going to be some of the best investing years. And I believe wholeheartedly that this is the time and the season for that. Trading View, let's look at what it has here. Some of the news. S&P, like we mentioned, the rallies, everything just really just moving in a great way. Let me see any news. OEN. Uh, and this one, I saw this in One American News, is that reports that Donald Trump has been secretly discussing the White House agenda with JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon. And Jamie Dimon is a player in the sport. No secret, they're friends. They know what's going on. But one of the things that I see from there is that the stock market is making phenomenal moves. I hope you enjoyed your Thanksgiving. I hope it was a wonderful one. But now it's time not only to shop, but also to start investing, start looking at stocks. I also want to look at some of the stocks that were making some moves today. And I want to share my screen again. We're going to look at a paper trading account here. And I'm going to share that screen and window with you right here. You guys can see that. Well, one of the things that we're going to look at is at this chart here. We got an Amazon. We're looking at a 3-year chart, and this is a candlestick chart. So it's a way where many investors can read charts. And right now it was up a few points. It was up $2.15. It has really made a strong move since this bounce off that 197. That $200 mark is making a nice bounce off of that, and it seems to continue to make that. I want to see this stock go past this 215 to actually set some new highs. Amazon is really looking good here. Let's look at some others. The Russell 2000 again. This is one of those stocks that I'm looking at. I believe that it's going into a wedge pattern, and it's just fitting in there just nice. And it looks like it's creating this wedge pattern, and it wants to break out where it has met with the previous highs in about 2 to 3 years ago, and it's kind of looking like it's in no man's land, but we really want to see where this stock is moving. The Russell 2000, with one of the Russell 2000 with this indice, what I love is that a lot of the American mid-cap companies here, you have a lot of many pundits that are really saying that this stock here is going to take a hit if the tariffs really hit town. And I tend to disagree with that assessment because we've already had tariffs during a Trump administration and the stock market went up. I believe that this is going to be an opportunity for many people who haven't started businesses yet, find a problem in the marketplace, in the space of manufacturing, and really create a company or opportunities for companies like these to grow. And I'm bullish on the Russell. I'm also know that many spread traders that are out there are kind of looking at this stock and saying, I need to leg into this from a bear call spread and just kind of take the 20, 25 cents, 15 cents credit that they're giving there. And really, you almost have to wait to the week of expiration date to do the bear call. So the bull put spread on that, excuse me. So Russell 2000 moving pretty precipitously there. And one of my favorites, Tesla, if you hear me talk about one of my favorite stock, I like this stock. So far, this stock made a move that I needed because it got hammered. On the stock, I'm doing pretty well. On the option, I've gained like 61 cents back. So that's always good because luckily I bought an option with a little bit of time. So I wasn't doing front month. I was out a couple of months. But I've also entered a trade here on the SPY. I believe the SPY is going to move. That's just my opinion. But I'm in the trade in the SPY. It's made a decent move today. It was up 372, which is a pretty decent move for the SPY. It mirrors the S&P 500, and it travels about like a tenth of a tenth of the stock. So I like about I believe this stock right here. If you're looking for long term, the SPY I believe is going to cross the 650, 700 mark. The S&P 500, mark my words, by next year it will cross the 7,000 mark. I really believe so. Just bullish on America. I'm bullish, but I'm not also too euphoric where I'm not playing defensively. So that's one thing. I'm like many of you. I'm optimistic, but I'm also cautious. Let's look at Target again. It made a nice move today. Many of the people are bullish on this. I still believe that this stock has a lot of room to run up. There's it if it's gonna run down, it's gonna run down to the 109 mark because it's gonna fill this gap. But I believe it's gonna bounce up. This is the range, the 207 mark. It's gotta fill the gap. It's gotta fill this gap sooner or later, but it's gotta fill this gap down here too. So you never know where that stock is gonna lead. What other stocks here? Let me look at State Street. Uh, State Street actually making some moves here. Brian, nice call on this one. I like the State Street move right here. I like that one. Let's see what else. What other stocks here? Let's look at the Qs. Qs I've been trading for a long time. This is another one that I believe that's just like the Russell 2000. The Qs is going to be, mark my words, the Qs are going to be trading in the $1,500 range in about 2 to 3 years. $1,500 range. Many people are going to look at $509 and look, you bought it at this cheap price. I know that sounds strange saying that. And many of you who've been trading the Qs for years knew this stock at one time in the 2008 when I started trading was in the $40 range. 40 to 50, 40 to 50, 40 to 60. And now to see this stock at 500 is nuts. It is nuts. And that's why there's a part of as an investor, you have to have like that short term investor play and that long term, that 10 to 15 years. Imagine if you put 10,000 in stocks here. Amazing how this stock is looking here. But that's one of the things that you look at. You look at these stocks and you look at what the market is doing, and it has been phenomenal. Many of you who are looking like, how can I get started trading? Trading is pretty simple. You don't have to make a big thing out of it. Just start looking at what you drive, what products you enjoy, what's in your home, what are the things that you love. And you start seeing that 5 out of 10 of those products are publicly traded. Some of you have gifts that God has given you that is so amazing. You know, there's a thing in the scriptures in Second Chronicles 12:32 that talks about that the children of Issachar, they knew the times and seasons. Well, what does that mean that they knew the times and seasons? Well, the times and seasons really, it doesn't mean that they walked around by their spirit praying. No, they were actually very people devoted to study. They study statistics. They study information. What is the government doing? They study the rain pattern. They study weather patterns. They looked at the summer, fall, winter, and spring. How seasons? Why do birds fly south over the winter? Those are things that if it wasn't for a statistician, we wouldn't have those concepts. Like the farmer's almanac, that's something that we could look at the children of Issachar. So when I use that analogy, I say that is because it is important for us to understand financial means. As investors, as Christian entrepreneurs, it behooves us to understand financial business. Think of this. God found it so profound that the first 5 books of the Bible, 20% was dedicated to numbers. Think of that. God found numbers so important. Not the Holy Spirit, not the first 5 books, 20% focused on numbers. Count the people, number the people, counting. And not only that, the next 20%, Leviticus, was focused on rules, law, how to live, how to invest, how to deal with business dealings, the law. So think about it. 40% of the Torah focuses on numbers and law, running things correctly. Is it amazing? So you start looking at, you implement that in your investing, and you start seeing that everything around you, you can participate. And I love investing. That's why I'm calling me the finance pastor, because I'm here. I want to share not only God's word with you, but also investing principles. And the next few years, I believe, is going to be the number one best time for many of you to pad your portfolios, to pad your income, to pad your 401ks, to pad your savings. By investing your dollars is by taking a little bit of what you earn every single week. You don't have to go out and stop what you're doing, but think of it of the habit. You know, you could take $10, $20 every single paycheck and buy a stock. You know that? It doesn't take millions and millions of dollars. It's about the habit. And if you're 40 or you're 50, you can still participate. Think of it, there's companies like Rivian, $13, still a young company in its infancy, where you can see some growth in a company like that. A Ford, still a cheap company, 11 bucks, dividend paying. Stuff like that, you could start participating every single week. Every single week. And if you're young and if you're looking and you're watching me, think of this. There's a concept that Robert Kiyosaki wrote in his book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, that he talks about paying yourself first. Paying yourself first is not about just throwing money at yourself and buying whatever you want. It wasn't that concept. Paying yourself first is taking money almost like after you tithe. You take another 10% and you put that towards an investment, whether it be real estate. But for me, it would be a stock savings account, putting your money away and stashing money away, whether you're buying one share a month. It's about the habit. And you start seeing when you do that over 10, 20 years, 15 years. And if you do investing in companies that have even higher growth, like tech industry, you'll see that those dividends and those stocks really have significant and huge growth potentials. Investing can be fun. Investing is a way where you can participate and really have fun in the stock market. One of the things that we look at in the stock market today, we want to look at, let me see, I want to look at the news here. Check if anything has come out since we've been on. Normally for today, it was basically a light trading day. Really was very light. Again, very light trading day. Let's look at some companies. AMD, AMD has gotten beaten up. Uh, really has gotten beaten up over the last several months, even though their earnings were pretty decent. But it has gotten, I mean, hosed from the highs of the 180s. This stock has come down in the last pretty much all year. It's kind of been down, in my opinion. It's been tough. AMD, but I'm still hopeful in AMD. I'm still think it's a big player in the market. What else? Nasdaq. Let me see. Anything here out of the ordinary? Uh, Not really anything, but everybody's hopeful. It's a holiday weekend. People are probably still shopping, and that's what's gonna really drive the news. That's really gonna drive the news tomorrow, over the weekend. It's really what's the sentiment. You're gonna have Cyber Monday, and you're gonna start seeing people still invest and spend their money, and many people are hopeful, and this is gonna be a big determinant on where the stock market goes for the next few weeks. There's a few economic reports. The Beige Book is out on Wednesday, and a couple of the I think the jobs data, if I'm not mistaken, jobs data is out on Tuesday. We're looking for seeing what's going to happen, and I'm hopeful for what's going to happen in the stock market. But let's see. I'm hopeful for the future. I don't know what you guys believe there. Believe your comments. If you like what you hear, share and like. Tell your friends, and we'll keep bringing you content just like this. And until next time, we'll see you guys. You guys have a phenomenal weekend. See you guys.